The jungle breathed like a living thing, humid, endless, ancient. Beneath its green canopy, time itself seemed to sleep, whispering through vines that had seen empires rise and fall. The sound of birds echoed in the misty air, masking the deeper pulse of something massive moving beneath the earth. The world thought it knew the king of this land, King Kong, the colossal guardian who ruled the island with both fury and heart. But deep under the swamps, coiled in darkness untouched for millions of years, another king stirred. The Titanoboa, the ancient serpent whose reign began before the dawn of man. The first tremor came like thunder beneath the soil. Kong raised his head from a river where he had been drinking, his reflection shattered by ripples of unease. The trees shook, birds scattered, and the ground cracked like a wound opening. From the swamp's depths rose a massive form, glistening and wet, scales catching the faint light. The Titanoboa had awakened, its eyes glowing like molten gold. It was not a creature of this era. It was a memory of the world before balance, before mercy. And now, it had returned to reclaim the jungle's throne. Kong's roar ripped through the island, a warning that echoed over mountains and rivers. The animals fled, instinctively knowing what was coming. This was not a fight for territory. It was a war for legacy, a clash written in the bones of creation. The serpent moved silently through the jungle, its body weaving through trees like a river of muscle and malice. When its head finally rose above the canopy, it faced the towering ape that had stood as guardian for centuries. For a long moment, the two kings simply stared at each other, nature's fury mirrored in two forms. The first strike was sudden and brutal. Titanoboa lunged, its jaws snapping like thunder, missing Kong by inches as he rolled aside, uprooting trees with his sheer weight. The serpent's body wrapped around the broken trunks, crushing them to splinters. Kong charged, his fist crashing into Titanoboa's skull, sending a shockwave through the forest. The impact split the air, scattering dust and leaves like an explosion. The jungle, once a paradise, became a battlefield of gods. The serpent hissed, its tail sweeping through the air, striking Kong with the force of a hurricane. Kong stumbled, but did not fall. His chest rose and fell with primal rage. He grabbed a fallen tree, its roots dripping mud, and swung it like a weapon. It struck Titanoboa's body, snapping scales, drawing dark blood that hissed when it hit the ground. The serpent screamed, a sound like steam escaping from the heart of the earth. Lightning split the sky as rain began to fall, each drop turning to steam when it touched the serpent's skin. The storm had chosen its moment, turning the battlefield into a cauldron of mud, fire, and fury. For hours they fought, through rivers, cliffs, and burning jungles. Titanoboa coiled, its enormous body around Kong, crushing, suffocating, its strength beyond comprehension. Kong roared in pain, his muscles straining as bones cracked under the pressure. But the king of Skull Island had never known surrender. With one last burst of strength, Kong tore the serpent's coils apart and hurled it against a rock face. The mountain cracked, sending avalanches of stone crashing down. Titanoboa's hiss echoed like a dying god, but it still lived, its hunger unbroken. As dawn broke, both creatures stood scarred and bleeding. The rain had ceased, and mist covered the land in silence. The serpent slithered through the ruins of the jungle, trying to regain its strength. Kong followed, his breathing deep, his steps slow but unrelenting. The final battle came at the edge of a massive waterfall, where the river plunged into the ocean and the air trembled from the roar of nature itself. Titanoboa struck once more, wrapping itself around Kong in one final, desperate attack. The two giants struggled at the edge, their power shaking the very cliff beneath them. Kong's roar rose above the storm, his fury echoing like thunder. With one mighty push, he tore free of the serpent's coils and seized Titanoboa by the neck. His eyes burned with determination, his muscles rippled with the strength of every generation before him. With a final, earth-shattering cry, Kong hurled the serpent over the waterfall. The Titanoboa screamed as it fell into the abyss below, vanishing beneath the roaring white foam. The jungle fell silent. The rain stopped. The king stood alone, breathing heavily, the mist wrapping him like a crown. The morning sun broke through the clouds, shining across Kong's battered frame. His fur was torn, his body bleeding, but his eyes still carried the fire of the conqueror. He looked out across his island, his home, now scarred but safe. The river flowed, red with the blood of 2 titans, but the land lived on. Kong lifted his face to the sun and roared, not in victory, but in sorrow and defiance, a cry that would echo through time itself. And somewhere deep beneath the waterfall, in the dark waters where the serpent had fallen, something stirred. The waves shifted slightly, and a pair of golden eyes flickered open beneath the depths. The jungle may have crowned its king once more, but the legend of Titanoboa was far from over.